Matthew 17 opens with a profound moment that bridges heaven and earth, the Transfiguration. Jesus takes Peter, James, and John to a high mountain. There, something extraordinary happens. Jesus' face begins to shine like the sun, and his clothes become as white as light. In this moment, the disciples witness not just a teacher or a prophet, but the glory of the divine revealed in human form. As they watch, two figures appear alongside Jesus, Moses and Elijah, representing the law and the prophets. This moment is a declaration. Jesus is the fulfillment of God's promises, the bridge between the old and the new. Peter, overwhelmed by the vision, says, "Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you wish, I will put up 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." But as Peter speaks, a bright cloud envelops them, and a voice from the cloud declares, "This is my Son, whom I love. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him." In this moment, the disciples fall to the ground, terrified. They are in the presence of God's glory, hearing his voice affirm Jesus as the Son of God. But Jesus, ever compassionate, touches them and says, "Get up. Don't be afraid." And when they look up, they see only Jesus, standing alone. As they descend the mountain, Jesus instructs the disciples, "Don't tell anyone what you have seen until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead." The disciples are puzzled, still trying to understand what Jesus means by raised from the dead. They ask him about Elijah, recalling the prophecy that Elijah must come before the Messiah. Jesus explains, Elijah has already come, and they did not recognize him. He is speaking of John the Baptist, who came to prepare the way, yet was rejected. Jesus' words hint at his own path of suffering that lies ahead. When they reach the crowd, a man approaches Jesus, kneeling before him and pleading, "Lord, have mercy on my son. He has seizures and suffers greatly. I brought him to your disciples, but they could not heal him." Jesus responds, "You unbelieving and perverse generation. How long shall I stay with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring the boy here to me." With a simple command, Jesus rebukes the demon, and the boy is healed instantly. This moment demonstrates not only Jesus' authority over the spiritual realm, but also his frustration with the lack of faith among his followers. Later, the disciples come to Jesus in private and ask, "Why couldn't we drive it out?" Jesus replies, "Because you have so little faith. Truly, I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you." This teaching is profound. Faith is not about size or quantity. It is about trust and belief. Even the smallest faith, when placed in God, can move mountains. As they gather in Galilee, Jesus tells his disciples again, "The Son of Man is going to be delivered into the hands of men. They will kill him, and on the 3rd day, he will be raised to life." The disciples are filled with grief. They cannot fully comprehend what Jesus is saying, but they sense the weight of his words. Jesus is preparing them for what is to come, his suffering, his death, and ultimately, his resurrection, which will change everything. The chapter closes with a unique moment. When they arrive in Capernaum, collectors of the temple tax approach Peter and ask, "Doesn't your teacher pay the temple tax?" Peter replies, "Yes, he does." But before Peter even speaks to Jesus, Jesus asks him, "What do you think, Simon? From whom do the kings of the earth collect duty and taxes? From their own children or from others?" Peter answers, "From others." And Jesus says, "Then the children are exempt. But so that we may not cause offense, go to the lake and throw out your line. Take the first fish you catch, open its mouth, and you will find a 4 drachma coin. Take it and give it to them for my tax and yours. This moment is both practical and symbolic. Jesus demonstrates humility and wisdom, fulfilling obligations while subtly reminding us of his divine authority. Even in small matters, he points to the greater truth. Matthew 17 takes us from the heights of the Transfiguration to the everyday realities of faith, struggle, and humility. It reminds us that divine glory is not distant. It is here among us, revealed in Jesus. Faith as small as a mustard seed can move mountains. And even in the face of suffering, Jesus calls us to trust, to believe, and to follow him into the light of resurrection. Will you walk this path of faith? If you enjoyed this chapter and want to see more content like this, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your support helps me keep bringing these stories to life, and you'll be the first to know when new chapters are released. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more.